So welcome everyone. We're so pleased to have a chance really to introduce all of you to the One Health Interdisciplinary Undergraduate Certificate, which is a new program that's admitting its first students in fall of 2023. And as you can see from this slide, it's a collaboration between 4 colleges and actually several other institutes of centers as well. So this would be the John Burns School of Medicine, the College of Tropical Agriculture and Human Resources, the Thompson School of Social Work and Public Health, and the School of Ocean and Earth Science and Technology. Let's see if I can advance here. So what are our goals for this One Health Certificate program? So the first is to prepare students with skills and knowledge to work collaboratively across disciplines to solve real-world problems. So by its nature, the One Health approach is interdisciplinary, and some would argue should be transdisciplinary. And so we'd like to give students the opportunity to learn about this type of an approach to problem solving. The other goal is to promote the integration of top faculty and researchers into the undergraduate experience. And then finally, it's to introduce both undergraduate and post-bac students to a wide range of careers relevant to One Health. And as I already mentioned, it is a partnership between a number of different colleges and departments within those colleges. The John Burns School of Medicine has taken a lead to date with the Department of Tropical Medicine, Medical Microbiology, and Pharmacology, which is where I'm from. Also playing a lead role in the program is the Interdisciplinary Studies program, and the director of that program will be talking to you very soon. The leadership committee will consist of representatives of each of the participating units. And so as you can see here, there are a number of different departments in the School of Social Work and Public Health, Tropical Agriculture and Human Resources, and from the School of Ocean and Earth Science and Technology, as well as from CMAICI, which is the Center for Microbiome Analysis through Island Knowledge and Investigation. Now, I would like to add, though, that while the programs above listed contributed to the development and implementation of the certificate program, we are very open to adding other units as partners as the program evolves and expands. Is there, let's see.
Can't say.
Someone is speaking. If you could mute your microphone, thank you. Okay, so there are 2 questions that I'd like to address at the outset, and that is, what is One Health and why should I get a certificate in One Health? And to do this, I'd like to go to our website just for a moment. And hopefully you can see our website here. Can you see it? Let's see.
Yes.
Okay, and so so this is our website, and there's a lot of information available for you to look over at this website. But really, the mission or vision statement of the One Health initiative is shown here, which is dedicated to improving the lives of all species, human and animal, and actually you can add plants to that, through the integration of human medicine, veterinary medicine, and environmental science. And this is our logo, which is a representation of those interconnections. And it's very compatible with a Hawaiian concept of physical, spiritual, and mental health, and social and cultural well-being. And this is referred to as Mauli Ola. And so not only is the One Health approach relevant to what I've described as a global approach, but really it's in harmony with Hawaiian approaches to health as well. And students who are interested in this program are students who may pursue a wide range of professions in human, animal, and environmental health, So some of the careers that would benefit include in human health, physicians, public health practitioners, epidemiologists. For animal health, of course, veterinarians and veterinary technicians, agricultural workers. And then finally, in environmental health, ecologists and wildlife experts. Now, this is not limited to these professions, but is quite broad in its application. Okay, I'm just going to go back now to my presentation. So what does the certificate curriculum look like? Well, as all other certificates, undergraduate certificates go, it's a total of 15 credits of One Health related coursework as well as a capstone experience. The coursework consists of an introductory course to One Health, as well as a One Health seminar and a One Health journal club, along with 2 approved One Health related elective courses. And finally, the capstone project can be either a directed research project in One Health or a practicum internship in the community that is relevant to One Health. And so this is just the description of the core courses for One Health. Dr. Perkle teaches the introduction to One Health, so she'll be telling you a bit more about that particular course. And I just want to mention that this is a summer course. And so those of you who are interested in pursuing the certificate should consider taking this course this summer if possible. And then the One Health Journal Club is being taught by faculty from CTAR and covers the discussion of One Health publications. And then the seminar is led by Dr. Medeiros from CMAICI, and this will be seminar presentations and discussions on topics related to One Health. And so these will be offered the journal club in the fall semester and the seminar in the spring semester. And then finally, these 2 capstone options, either a directed research course or a One Health practicum course. These elective courses that I mentioned need to be approved by the One Health certificate program and should be from 2 different UH departments. And that's really aligned with the interdisciplinary nature of the One Health approach. And we have a list of all of these electives on our website. For admission, we will be accepting students both in the fall and the spring. These students will have to have a GPA of 2.5 or better. Both undergraduates and post-baccalaureate students are eligible to enroll for the certificates, and any field, any major is eligible. As far as application documents go, we will require a copy of undergraduate transcripts, a CV or resume, 1 letter of recommendation, and then a Zoom interview by members of the admissions committee. The process for admissions is a little different for undergraduate versus post-baccalaureate students. For undergrads, it's pretty straightforward. We have an online REDCap application that you will need to fill out and upload your documents for admission. We will have a Zoom interview for eligible students, and students will be notified of their acceptance by email. Accepted students will need to meet with the interdisciplinary studies advisor as well as the One Health program director to chart their path forward for the certificate program. Post-baccalaureate students, in addition to what I've already described, need to apply to through UH Manoa admissions for admission into the university. Once they are admitted, then they can fill out the REDCap application similar to the undergraduate students, and the rest of the steps are exactly the same. So I just wanted to point out that there's a number of different research opportunities at Manoa at the various participating colleges and programs, and this will all be discussed in greater detail by representatives of each participating unit. And then finally, for those interested in doing a practicum, this can be done at a variety of different locations. These are just some examples. There are opportunities at the Honolulu Zoo. Another one is with the Hawaii Homeless Outreach and Medical Education or HOME project, as well as the other programs listed here. So that's kind of a summary of the certificate program itself and how to apply. If you'd like to have more information, feel free to contact us at onehealthhawaii.edu by email, or you can call either myself, the program director, or the interdisciplinary study program at the numbers provided here. And we will be posting these slides as well as a recording of the presentation on the website. So now I'm going to shift to the interdisciplinary studies program. Amy, you want to get going on this?
Yes, thank you so much, Sandra. So as mentioned earlier, the Interdisciplinary Studies Office is going to serve as sort of the overseers of your journey through the One Health certificate. So in essence, we will be serving you as certificate students in regards to officially declaring the certificate so that it is a part of your transcript, it's on STAR. We will assist you in course registration, course overrides, approvals. If you are you receiving funding from financial aid, those kinds of verifications will come to the IS office. We can also assist you with learning support that you might need. And one of the most important parts is that we will verify the completion of your certificate in your last semester. It will be an official form that we will submit to the registrar's office. Go ahead and go to the next slide. This is kind of repeating of what I just said, but in more of a detailed steps that you would need to take. So as mentioned, after you apply, and if you are admitted to the program, you'll receive an email verifying that you've been accepted. And upon receiving that email, your next step is to reach out to our IS office to officially declare the certificate as a part of your academic journey, or if you're post-bac as the program that you're pursuing. You will also contact us to discuss sort of what those course selections will be for you if you're needing assistance to enroll and learning support. You will also, again, be contacting us with any kind of verification for your financial aid or scholarships, Pell Grants, types of things. And last but not least, that verifying your completion of the certificate at the end of your 5 classes, 15 credits of coursework. Next slide. Thank you. And then this is also just our contact information. Our website, our general email, along with my personal email, and our program coordinator, Erica. I also encourage you to follow us on Instagram. If you're on social media, we will be actively posting stories about One Health and even stories about your own journeys within the One Health program. IS is really excited to be a partner in this project, and we're really committed to you students that decide to pursue this certificate and sort of being there to support you and answer your questions and make sure that you're on track to complete the certificate in a timely manner that works within your other academic programs. Okay, thank you. Sandra, you have to unmute.
Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to some of the other programs that are participating in the certificate program. So I believe that, Matt, you have your own files to share, right? Okay, go ahead.
Andrea, do you need to go first, right?
Andrea, do you need to go first? I know
That's
your time
okay.
was.
I have to go at 4, but I think we're punctual enough that it doesn't really matter. So go ahead, Matt.
Okay.
Can everybody see my screen okay?
Yep.
All right. Aloha mai kākou. I'm Matt Medeiros. I'm an associate professor in the Pacific Biosciences Research Center. I'm also the co-director of an institute at the University of Hawaii Manoa, known as CIMAIKI, or the Center for Microbiome Analysis through Island Knowledge and Investigation. And I'm going to talk about our organization, how it became formed, what it is, and how it fits into this One Health certificate program. So CIMAIKI is an institute at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, and it's housed outside of the office of the vice provost. It was started by an investment by then Michael Bruno when he served as the vice chancellor of research. And it's important to note that as an institute, we span across numerous colleges and schools at the University of Hawaii at Manoa system. So a lot of the capacity I'm going to discuss with you in this talk today is based on our partnerships with schools like SOAS, the College of Natural Sciences, CTAR, and JABSA. So the prevailing idea that formed our center is the observation that microorganisms are a lot more important than we originally assumed, right? So we live in an era of revolution in biology. We're becoming to appreciate the fact that microorganisms underlie many of the biological processes that explain biology. And CIMAIKI sort of recognizes this central importance of microorganisms that, under all of biology. And as such, likely represent opportunities to modulate biological processes and apply technologies really to solve problems. And a lot of these problems are One Health associated, right? So we have researchers in our center that investigate microorganisms in an effort to unlock technologies to mitigate biodiversity loss, to solve the climate change crisis or adapt to the impending changes in our climate, to augment our food security, as well as to face the growing threat of zoonotic pathogens that directly impact human health. Our center, like I said, was formed by an investment from the Vice Chancellor of Research. We went on to form a lot of other different centers and build up a lot of capacity and research across the University of Hawaii at Manoa system. This includes a large centers grant from the NIH that explicitly unites researchers who are interested in the environmental modulation of microbiomes and how it underlies human health. We have established the Keck Ecosystem Microbiome Observatory, which is a field station located in the Waimea Ahupua'a on the island of Oahu to study environmental microbiomes, and there are many links to environmental and human health. We are advocating for research experiences for undergraduates, in this case with an actual NSF-funded REU program for Pacific Islanders in environmental biology. And our researchers, who are many, are funded by many grants through the NSF, NIH, USDA, and DoD. So what CIMAIKI has is a lot of research capacity, I think, at a central nexus topic to One Health, which is the role of microorganisms in the overall environmental health and its clear influence on human health. Our faculty are really what drive this home, right? So we are a consortium of faculty researchers who are united by this interest. And there's a couple of different sort of broad general fields that I could sort of compartmentalize some of our faculty into to help you understand the research capacity at CIMAIKI. So some of our faculty are interested in microbes as sort of direct modulators of human health, right? And for instance, Lajana Prisek, who's an associate professor in the School of Life Sciences, studies the environmental variables and contexts that control virulence and pathogenesis in Mycobacterium. Obviously, Mycobacterium, a large genera or genus of bacteria that confer a lot of different human infections, including the causative agents of tuberculosis. So her work specifically looks at how the abundance of zinc in the environment actually modulate the virulence of Mycobacterium infections, including tuberculosis. We also have a bunch of faculty who are interested in how microbes underlie biological processes that determine or set human health, right? And a good example of this is Dr. Kiana Frank, who's an assistant professor in PBRC. She looks at the abundance and distribution of waterborne pathogens across many of the watersheds in the state of Hawaii. Her work relates the abundance and distribution of these potential pathogens with different land use and management regimes of these watersheds. And finally, some of our faculty sort of develop model systems to understand links between the organism, its performance and health, and the microbes it depends on. And a good example of this is Dr. Joanne Yu in the PBRC, who's using arguably one of our most important model systems in biology, Drosophila, to investigate how the microbiome influences the metabolic and other physiological function of its host. Her research is even including the use of native Hawaiian Drosophila, who have spectacular diversification across different, really nutrient resources. And with that different patterns of nutrition come different needs in terms of what they depend on their microbial symbionts to support them with. So all in all, I think the strength of CMYIKI and our relevance to this One Health Certificate is the opportunity for research capstones and other projects associated with environmental microbes and their impact on human health. I couldn't talk about everybody's research or all of the activities in this time frame, but I do want to highlight the fact that we have a great website that lists this information at www.c-myiki.org. And I would encourage you to visit it, visit the people page to look at our faculty, and the news page to see what's up, what's new in the Institute. Thank you for your time.
Thanks so much, Matt. Andrea, did you want to continue?
Sure. Can you let me share screen?
I think we just have to stop sharing, Matt, and then we can switch to Andrea. Yeah, you should be able to go on now.
Got it. Thank you. There we go. Can everyone see the slide that has SOAS, the SOAS
Yes.
emblem? Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you for having me. Aloha kako. And I'm going to just really quickly touch on some of the opportunities or research that is relevant to One Health in the School of Ocean and Earth Science and Technology, in addition to CMYIKI. And I just wanted to first say that there are so many amazing areas of research that are relevant. I can't possibly touch on them all. And so please do take a look at the websites of PBRC, the Department of Oceanography. SOAS has 3 other departments, Atmospheric Sciences, Ocean and Resources Engineering, and Earth Sciences. And there are also centers such as Sea Grant, which is a collaboration between UH and NOAA, the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Association, and the Water Resources Research Center, which is a collaboration between UH and USGS, US Geological Survey, that also do a lot of research, often in collaboration with folks in SOAS. So take a look. But I am going to just really quickly touch on a few examples of some sort of concrete research that you can kind of start to think about. One is the area of wastewater contamination and the potential for basically aging septic systems and cesspools, and just aging sewage systems that might leak sewage that can contaminate groundwater and eventually make its way into our coastal ecosystems. And so Dr. Craig Nelson, who is associated with Oceanography and Sea Grant, is looking at possible movement of those contaminants and possible effects on swimmers, aquaculture, and coastal ecosystems. Also in oceanography, Drs. Greg Stewart and Kyle Edwards are looking at seasonality of pathogens in the Alawai Canal. Dr. Rosie Allegado, also in oceanography and split with Sea Grant, is looking at toxoplasmosis and the potential for feral cats to be spreading this disease and what impact it might have on watersheds and coastal ecosystems. In the area of health disparities, Dr. Heilani Cheng in PBRC and also Dr. Alika Maunakea, who's in JABSIM, so that his work will probably come up later, but they're both working on health disparities, and in particular, the effects of, or the roots of disparities in metabolic disorders such as diabetes and heart disease on Native Hawaiians. And then Dr. Matthew Medeiros, whom we just heard from, but who wasn't apparently going to toot his own horn. He and Dr. Robert Cowie have been working for several years on rat lungworm and its transmission and impacts in Hawaii. And then I've also been looking at pathogen microbiota interactions in wildlife. And then really quick, just wanted to point out again some of the broad collaborative efforts. Since the Red Hill fuel spill last year, there's been what's loosely called a Red Hill task force at UH that's largely led by WRRC, the Water Resources Research Center, that I mentioned earlier, but is collaborative with faculty across UH Manoa. So I'm just mentioning a few of these areas. One is the monitoring of contaminants in tap water. So looking at how some of these contaminants might be moving through tap water systems and also how they might be degrading. And that's work by Craig Nelson and Don Viviani. Don Viviani is actually at Leeward Community College, but is also very involved in this work. Surveys of community impacts, so more of the social impacts. This is work that's led by Leah Bremer and Aurora Kagawa Viviani, also at WRRC. And then monitoring of biodiversity in freshwater environments led by Yinfan Tseng, who's in CTAR. And then there's also the Smart Alawai project, which is a collaborative effort that was started by students, faculty, staff at UH Manoa, as well as community stakeholders in an effort to monitor the quality of the Alawai Canal and the Alawai watershed. So really, that's it really quickly, but I'm happy to share these slides, or if anyone has questions, I can answer those later. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrea. That's very exciting. So I think we'll go on now to, I believe the next one was Thompson School of Social Work and Public Health.
Thank you,
So,
Dr.
Catherine?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then are you going to be the one who's moving it forward?
I will, yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Aloha, everyone. I'm Catherine Perkle. I'm an associate professor in the Office of Public Health Studies, which is under the Thompson School of Social Work and Public Health. By training, I am a life course and environmental epidemiologist, and I've had the good fortune to be able to work all over the world. I've been able to work in places in West Africa and Bermuda, Brazil, Colombia, to name a couple places. So I think we can go to the next slide. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the work that we've done in public health studies of relevance to the One Health certificate. So we've done quite a bit of work over the years in One Health for our graduate students. We've had courses that have discussed One Health, such as the Public Health Foundations course, Public Health 600, which usually I give the introduction to One Health in that course. We've also got Environmental Determinants Health, which is another course for our graduate students, and a number of research and practicum opportunities. But until recently, until the certificate was put in place, we really had limited opportunities for undergraduates. So we've been able through this certificate to really expand, and give those opportunities. So the best example, or at least the example I'm going to talk to today, is this Public Health 411. So this is the introductory, so sorry, not 411, 441. This is the introduction to One Health, and this is the course that I give. So because this is sort of an introductory webinar into the certificate, what I really hope to do is give you a bit of idea about this introductory course, how it's going to be taught, what you can sort of expect. And then I'll tell you a little bit after that about some of the practicum and research opportunities that may be available in public health studies. So the history behind this course is it was first taught in the summer of 2020. It was taught in that form as a pilot course right as we were launching the One Health certificate. And it was sort of this experimental, let's see if we can make this work, and luckily it did. So since then, it's been taught and refined 2 more times. The first time we did it through Public Health Studies, and then we've moved it over to Outreach College. And then we're offering it now for the 4th time during the summer session. And this will be obviously in 2023, so this summer session. So that's the beginning of July to mid-August. And I'm going to be the instructor of record for this time. Next slide, please. You do not need to read all of this, but this is directly from the syllabus, and this is the course description. But what I wanted to really highlight here is already been highlighted by Dr. Chang, which is that One Health acknowledges that there's really tight ties between humans, animals, and the environment in which we are all a part of. And we go through and we talk about this class as we really try to demonstrate the complexity and interconnectivity of these linkages. And as was already alluded to, the need to have many fields involved to address the particular issues and problems that are pertinent to One Health. So the introductory course that I teach does really talk about the roots of One Health, but I have designed it because we live in an island environment around oceans and human health. So I really try to use the lens of ocean and human health to demonstrate that interconnectivity between our environment, between animals and humans, to demonstrate the importance of interdisciplinarity and to illustrate many of the foundations that we see elsewhere in the One Health literature. Next slide, please. So this is just a demonstration of how it'll look, because this is an online course. It's an asynchronous online course, and it's offered through Outreach College. So this is just a screenshot of the LaLima website, and we have the course organized in modules. So you might click a reading, the reading will be there on the website. So you could download it, you can print it, or you can read it directly from your screen. And then you're going to move through each of the tabs to complete a single module. Go to the next slide, please. So the way it's organized is we have 16 modules in the course, and it goes across 5 weeks when it's offered during the summer. And so there's a number, as I said, there's 16, but there's a number of example modules. For example, there's a module introducing you to the field of toxicology. Another one that really looks at our dependence on fossil fuels and how that might be related to human health in various ways, as well as, for example, another module on encroaching on nature, some of the zoonotic infections that are associated with urbanization and urban sprawl into more and more wildlands. In terms of learning materials, the way the course is designed is to really incorporate not just readings and PowerPoints, but also discussions with experts in the field that have been recorded and posted onto the website, and audio materials and audiovisual materials. So we have a number of short video clips. We even have podcasts that are a part of this course. And then, as I said, we have guest lectures or guest discussions. So for about every other module, we'll have an expert in the field have a discussion, a recorded discussion with me about their work of pertinence. So some examples, Dr. Chris Fergal, who's at Trent University, he and I discussed some of his work in the Arctic. Dr. Fergal is actually one of the co-recipients of the 2007 Nobel Peace Prize on Global Climate Change. From the University of Hawaii, we have Chris Sabine. He's the provost for research and scholarship, but he's also an expert on ocean acidification, and this is one of the topics that we'll discuss in the course. Another example is Dr. Philippe Rouja. He's a cultural and medical anthropologist who's worked in Bermuda, where he's a government employee, but also has done some really interesting work with the Bardi, which are an indigenous population in Australia. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of how it's organized. Next slide, please. And then the question that students always ask is, how am I going to be graded? So this is again, a screen. This is a clip from the syllabus. It shows that we emphasize participation in the course. Just because it's online doesn't mean that we don't expect our students to really engage in the course. We have forum posts, we have study guide activities and some worksheets. And then the next slide, I'll tell you a little bit about the final assignment. So the next slide shows you an example of the final assignment. So for our undergraduates, what we'll do is give you a selections of topics to choose from. And these are controversial topics such as the development of pipelines in North America. So pipelines, I'm talking about oil and gas pipelines, which are quite controversial. And I asked the students to build arguments for and against this particular proposition or idea. And I asked them to do this both with regard, or starting first with regard to human health. What might be some of the human health risks, might be some of the benefits. Same for animal health and same for the broader ecosystem. Okay, next slide. So that gives you an overview of that introductory class to One Health. And now I'm just going to tell you a little bit more about some of the individuals in our unit that are doing work that are related to One Health. So the first person I'm going to mention is Dr. Mapuano Antonio. She is in the Native Hawaiian Indigenous Health Specialization in Public Health, and she does a lot of work on food systems, food security, and Native Hawaiian health in particular. There's Jane Chung Do, Dr. Jane Chung Do. She's in the social behavioral health science specialization. She's also the co-director of our unit, and she's doing some really fascinating work on backyard aquaponics and wellness. There's Dr. Liu, who's in epidemiology, and he does work on toxins, virology, and marine compounds. Dr. Buchtal, so she's in social behavioral sciences, and she does work on social networks, diet, and income, and how that relates to food security. And then next slide. And then I do work on something called the Oceans and Human Health Initiative. Next slide. And my co-principal investigator is Dr. Lorinda Riley. So to really talk about how interdisciplinary some of these projects can be, I'm an epidemiologist by training. My co-PI, also in public health, but she's a lawyer by training. And then we have this really amazing team involved. So we have representation from public health. So we have an undergraduate student, Kristen Lau, and then we have two graduate students, master's students, one in epidemiology, that's Lauren, another one in social behavioral sciences, that's Cade. Our co-investigator, however, is from the Hawaii Institute of Marine Biology, and that's Rachel Dax. We have another graduate student from social work, and then we have Jessica, who's from Hawaii Island and is one of our community representatives. So you can really see when it comes to One Health that you can have these very divergent, very diverse teams that can come together and collaborate on a single topic. Next slide, please. And you can, 2 more slides. And then if you're at all interested in some of the work I do food security work in the Arctic. We just recently had a major governmental report come out from a survey that was carried out in 2017, have done recently some work in the Marshall Islands, again, collaborating with the Hawaii Institute of Marine Biology and Sea Grant, some of the institutes that have been, some of the organizations and units that have been mentioned already in this presentation. And the next slide. And then just sort of as a final slide, we have a bachelor's program in public health, and we already have a capstone option through this public health program. And I could quite clearly see many similar opportunities for students who might want to have might want to work with somebody in public health to do their capstone. So some of the things our students do are policy analyses. They create communication materials. We had some students during the during the height of the COVID pandemic doing TikTok videos to help educate our younger folks in our population, and we're doing it in multiple languages, in Marshallese and Tagalog, etc. We have students engaged in literature review. They will sometimes do descriptive statistical analyses, visualizations, and in some cases, it's not often data collection, but Kristen, who is on our team, has been very active in the data collection in our Oceans and Human Health Initiative. So that gives you a little bit of an introduction of some of what we're doing in public health, and in particular of that course 441, Introduction to Public Health. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Now we'll move on to CTAR. Janae?
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. Um,
Okay.
okay, and do you mind just going through the slides for me? Because actually that's great.
Yes,
My
it's fine.
PowerPoint crashed. Yeah, and my Google Slides version doesn't look nearly as nice. Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Janae O'Dani, and I'm the Extension Veterinarian for CTAR. I'm in the Department of Human Nutrition, Food, and Animal Sciences. So I feel like, especially just even in my one department, we definitely embrace One Health principles. Next slide, please. During the pandemic, our college actually embarked on strategic planning and positioning, and it was a lot of work. Faculty members, grad students, we connected with our stakeholders, and together 4 grand challenge initiatives emerged. And these grand challenges, if you take a look at even what the names are, they also embrace that One Health idea. It's not just improve livestock health, it's resilient and thriving community health. The part where maybe animal scientists plays the most role in would be the vibrant tropical and Pacific Island agriculture and food security. We do work with ecosystem health, and importantly, we also focus on workforce and economic development, and that's largely where our human resources department comes into play. Next, please. So within CTAR, we have 6 departments: Family and Consumer Sciences, Human Nutrition, Food and Animal Sciences. We have MBBE, Natural Resource and Environmental Management, and all of the departments, except for the Family and Consumer Sciences, had courses that we felt already were relevant to One Health and could serve as electives. And I'll talk a little bit about the role that Family Consumer Sciences plays in a little bit. Next slide, please. And so over the next slides, really all I'm going to do is kind of go through the different courses that we offer. So in Human Nutrition, Food and Animal Sciences, in the animal side, lots of courses talking specifically about animals and animal diseases. I teach that course, and I do focus a lot on diseases of either public health importance because they're zoonotic, and also diseases of economic importance because they can really affect nations and other policies. And we do also have some courses that specifically address the role that animals play in humans and society. And then for the food safety and human nutrition side, clearly they're focusing there on the role that food and nutrition plays with human health. Next slide. Natural Resources and Environmental Management, that's a department that also really embraces the One Health initiative. They have, just 2 courses there, but they really just in and of themselves, have a lot of courses that deal with the environment and how we manage it, we as humans. And also as part of that environment, they do include wildlife and, so plants and animals. Next slide, please. And then I'm kind of combining PAPS and TPSS here. They're going to be combined in the future into one major called Tropical Agriculture and the Environment. And this is where, many of the courses that specifically focus on plants, plant pathogens, plant diseases, the soil that supports that plant health, medical and urban entomology, environmental laws, a great diversity in courses are offered, really reflecting the expertise and interests of our faculty. Next slide. Okay, so then in the next couple of slides, I'm going to talk about some specific educational opportunities that do exist in our college. So the first is a big one in PEPS. We have a team that's been awarded a NIFA award for biosecurity education. It's a multi-organization initiative with UH Manoa, Leeward Community College, and Oklahoma State University being involved. And this program will focus on Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islanders, tribal Native Americans, and really trying to build the workforce starting at the high school level, working through the community college system, 4-year undergraduate systems, and culminating with graduate student development as well. Next slide. Similarly, within HenFest, our food science team, they recently were awarded a National Needs Fellowship Program Award, and similarly, focusing on students with Native Hawaiian, Native American, Alaska Native backgrounds, groups that are traditionally underserved in the area of food science. They are going to be recruiting 6 graduate students, and they're it's a really exciting program that they're developing. Next slide. Okay, probably the one that I'm most excited about is the transdisciplinary course that many faculty in CTAR got together and created, and it's going to involve ultimately all of the programs in CTAR. And actually, it was Dr. Lee with the FCS department that really pioneered this and got this whole thing going. We're going to focus on teaching some epistemology, really getting our students to examine where do they get their knowledge from. And then we're going to do, a fairly quick interdisciplinary review. You can see in CTAR, we, have a lot of diverse perspectives that may be complementary, may not be with each other. And then the part that that I'm really excited about is that we're going to then ask our students to transcend those disciplines, the interdisciplinary, work that we already do, to try to address these really complex real world problems that we have, specifically in food security, sustainability of natural resources, human and animal health. And we're going to be incorporating a series of case studies. And at the end, the students are going to work in groups and pick one. And we envision this course hopefully working like a capstone course for the major. So again, we did just kind of put this course together. We're going to roll it out, I believe, in the spring as a pilot. And some other projects that we're doing. So we are incorporating mindfulness with animal-assisted intervention to improve student well-being. We're going to have a pilot for each program, which is, outreach to students, high school level and below. There's a vet science camp that we're also going to try to introduce that into as well. And I don't have a pretty slide, I'm sorry, with all of our faculty members. We kind of have a lot, but many of them do work with zoonotic diseases, animal diseases, that can be transmitted to humans, emerging pathogens, whether animal or plant pathogens, specifically trying to develop diagnostic tests so that we can better deal with these threats, food safety, dealing with issues of soil health, carbon sequestration, and the issues of climate. And I'll let you read the rest of the list, but we do have a lot of faculty members that are engaged in specific areas related to One Health. Frequently will support undergraduate research, whether through Europe or through capstone projects, or even projects that are funded by the faculty member themselves. And I think that was my last slide.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Danae. Very exciting programs. I think all the colleges have so much to offer. The last one is going to be the School of Medicine.
Hi, everyone. I guess I'm following the pack here. So I'm Jordan McMillan. I'm an instructor in the Department of Tropical Medicine at JABSOM, which is the School of Medicine down in Kaka'ako. I'm just going to give a little overview of some of the One Health opportunities, like research and courses that we're involved with. So next slide. So as you may remember from the beginning, we were talking about coursework. There's 15 courses or 15 credits included in the coursework, and then a bunch of electives that you may choose from. 3 of the electives are actually in the Department of Tropical Medicine. We have Tropical Medicine, TRMD 350, TRMD / Interdisciplinary Studies. This is a pandemic preparedness and response, a One Health case study of COVID-19. We have TropMed 431, which is a medical parasitology course. And then there's TropMed 441, which is international health disparities. I want to talk a little bit about TropMed Interdisciplinary Studies 350, because this is a new course that focuses on pandemic preparedness. So if we can go to the next slide. So as you may have guessed, this course was developed during the pandemic as a result of the pandemic and as a result of us realizing that we are not so prepared. And how can we better educate and start to get people thinking about how to be more prepared? And one of the things we were able to do was start developing a course that would be put into the developing certificate program, which is now here. So what this course does is an upper division course for students who are pursuing this undergraduate certificate in One Health. And we look at the COVID-19 pandemic from a One Health perspective. So we discuss a number of different things like what factors are enabling or enabled SARS-CoV-2 to become a pandemic, to spread across the globe, virological factors, behavioral factors from the human standpoint, even before that, wildlife encounters, things like that, spillover, what was the role with that? We look at global, national, regional, and local responses. We think about how animals can act as reservoirs for pathogens with pandemic potential. So thinking beyond COVID-19 and what sort of the future holds for that. What is the role of veterinarians during the pandemic? We discuss health disparities and equity issues that come up or have come up during the pandemic. We talk about drug and vaccine development and those processes in a pandemic setting and how they look different. They may have felt different as well. And how we can better detect, predict, and prevent future pandemics. The interesting thing about this course, one of the unique characteristics, I think, is that it is now a stacked course. So there are both undergraduate students. So if you are an undergraduate student in the certificate program, you will be enrolled in the course with graduate students. It sort of gives an added benefit to both sides. The undergrads and the grad students can benefit and learn together about these different topics. We have a lot of guest speakers. If you're interested in learning more about the course, it's in the fall, so we're getting ready to run it for I believe it's the 4th time this fall. It has run 3 times previously. So we've revised and adapted, and as the pandemic has progressed, I'm kind of coming over the hump here, the course has evolved as well. And so as we sort of move past the COVID-19 pandemic, we can start to evolve and adapt the course as well there. Yeah, so there's more information. If there's any questions about the course, feel free to contact myself. Some other One Health research that's kind of housed at JABSOM, and this is not all inclusive by any means, but we have some individuals working on neuroangiostrongylosis, looking at it from sort of the clinical perspective and how it is a real diagnostic challenge, toxoplasmosis in humans and Hawaiian monk seals. We also have some individuals working on non-tuberculous mycobacteria and their sort of reservoir potential in feral pigs here on the island, and sort of what the clinical significance of that is. And then some other research topics, including looking at SARS-CoV-2 variants on the islands, therapeutics for envenomation, some other flavivirus, serological diagnostics. There's a lot of different research that is going on, all of which, if you go back to the One Health website, you can take a look at some of that is posted there. To the next slide. We also have some research opportunities for undergraduate students, specifically the MARC program and the MHERT program. So MARC is maximizing access to research careers at the University of Hawaii Manoa. This is a 2-year training plan for typically juniors and seniors, but you really just have to have 2 years left in your academic journey. It is a research training program for those who are underrepresented in the sciences. And then we have MHERT, which is the Minority Health Research Training Program in Health Disparities, which is also an undergraduate research training program that focuses on a number of different types of research in infectious disease, global health, also community-based participatory research as well there. So if you are interested in learning about any of that any further, please contact myself and Jordan McMillan, or you can contact Dr. Chang as well. Thanks.
Thanks, Jordan. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I just wanted to emphasize that several people already mentioned, research training programs and opportunities. Many of them are extramurally funded, from NIH and different programs. There are also funded projects through the UROP, which is the University of Hawaii Research Opportunities Program. And we will be working closely with UROP to be able to find funding for students who are involved in research projects in the certificate program. So I think it's a partnership kind of taking advantage of all of the resources available at UH Manoa, both in terms of coursework as well as research opportunities and funding opportunities. So really wonderful opportunities for students through this certificate program. We're really good. Everybody did very well with their time. Great. And so we have time for questions now. I think there are a few questions already in the chat, but if anyone would like to just, ask any questions, any of the potential students here who have questions about the program, please go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay. We'll start with Varney. I think he started. Varney, do you have a question?
Yeah, so I'm Varney, a PhD student at Trap Med. I'm currently in Liberia, and my research is actually on Lassa. So I work extensively on rabies, which is one of the major zoonotic diseases affecting low-income country. So experience from the rabies, Lassa response, using a One Health approach just draw my attention to this entire One Health idea. So I listened to all the the presentations are very good. The certificate course is rich enough, but my concern has to do with how are these students going to be able to interact with each other? So the One Health is very good on the paper whatsoever. I saw the research, One Health research have been done in almost every department, but how can this be a holistic approach? For example, is there a disease that all these students will be able to respond to as a One Health approach? Are the veterinarian actually talking to even within the public health sector? There is a vet epidemiologist and there is a human epidemiologist. So there are slight differences between these two epidemiologists, but are they talking to one another? Are these students going to have a single disease that they will be able to respond to? Like, for example, Toxoplasma gondii, right?
Okay, Barney, maybe you can let me respond to some of your questions, because I think they're interesting questions. And I believe that the seminar course is going to really be a wonderful opportunity for us to bring students from different disciplines together to discuss their research and really have more of a One Health approach towards tackling problems. I understand your concern that, people can be very siloed and they may not have a chance to interact, but I think the whole focus of this program is to bring people together in the journal clubs as well as the seminars, and to give them an opportunity to talk to people in different disciplines. So hopefully that partially answers your question. So, but thank you very much for bringing that up, Barney.
Thank you.
Okay. And I think Clyde's had a question that he also wanted to ask. Okay.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you guys. I guess my question relates to the capstone project, or choosing between the capstone project. I was wondering, does a capstone project have to relate to a local issue that focuses on the lens of One Health, or can it be a global issue?
I think it could be either. It depends on the focus of your mentor. So, we do have faculty who work on local issues as well as people who work on global health. And you know, I think depending on which mentor you might have, you could do either. Yeah.
Got it. So, and if students chose to do the practicum or like an internship, how are they going to be evaluated based on their grades? Are they going to be?
Okay. Yeah. So once a student gets into the program and decides to do a practicum, the practicum course has a syllabus with all of that spelled out. I didn't really want to go into it in detail, but we do have, it is an approved course and it has a syllabus and it has an assessment. So just briefly for the practicum, students are going to have to maintain weekly logs of their practicum activities. And at the end of their practicum period, then they're going to have to write a paper that summarizes, you know, what they learned, which areas were worked well for them, and which areas they felt they would have needed to improve for their practicum experience. Sort of a self-assessment as well as an evaluation of the entire practicum experience. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? There are some questions in the chat. I'll go to the chat. Yeah, so there's some logistic issues, and that's why I brought up the fact that the One Health course that was described by Dr. Perkle is a summer course. So you do need to plan very carefully about, you know, when you enroll in the program and when you can take that particular course. Hopefully it'll work out. Let's see. Do you have to be in an undergraduate or graduate program? It can be a standalone. So we do have an allowance for post-baccalaureate students to participate in the certificate. And so you can enroll only in the certificate program, if that answers your question. Funding. Well, as I already mentioned, although the certificate program itself doesn't offer funding, there are many sources of funding that can be used for students who are in the certificate program. And I think, you know, all of the different faculty from the different units mentioned a few of those programs. So I think if you are interested in doing a research project that requires funding, you know, both those extramural programs as well as the UROP program can be used to fund your research. There is a question about whether the certificate is open to students at UH Hilo. Amy, you want to discuss how you could approach something like that?
Yes. So we would just need to work with your academic advisor at UH Hilo to kind of sort that out to make sure that the courses that you're taking at Manoa are going to transfer in. But there is a system-wide movement in place to allow all students to have more access to courses across. So this may be too level of details, but just everyone else that's listening, faculties, professors on here, part of it is that we will then create a separate, like if there is a student that's at Hilo wanting to take one of the One Health classes, we simply have to request a CRN that is a Hilo CRN for that class that that student enrolls in. And there are procedures in place to do it. So the good news is the answer is yes. It just requires some, you know, intentional kind of coordination and planning around it for those individual students.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think they would have to overcome the challenge that, you know, maybe not all the courses are offered online. And so they would have to be selective about the courses that they enrolled in if they're going to be participating remotely. Yeah. Let's see. Can a PhD student participate? I would imagine they could if they would find that a certificate would be useful to them. There would be no prohibition for their participation in the program. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? So I'm really pleased to see, you know, how many people have joined us, and I'm kind of hoping that you reach out to our program and meet with us. And, you know, we're very willing to meet by Zoom or in person to answer any questions that you may have about the certificate program. And certainly the interdisciplinary studies program would probably be accessible as well. So please feel free to contact us and let us know, you know, your interests, and we'll work with the other faculty in the various programs to try to find projects that may fit your own interests. So I think that's going to be the challenge. And that's part of the reason why we have the interview process, because very early on, we would like to identify students' interests in order to place them in an appropriate either research program or a practicum program so they can complete their capstone project. Any other comments that the faculty would like to make about the program? I was just really impressed at how everyone just did everything on time. We had no problem with running out of time. So that was great. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see any other questions in the chat. So if there are no other questions from those attending, I'd like to thank everyone for spending your time with us, both the faculty and the students, and we look forward to hearing from you in the near future. Okay, bye everyone.